All right, we are live. That was the longest I've made you guys wait for a while I was just silent before we started a Spaces. So thank you for your patience on that. I had to run out to the garage and grab a Oyster City Mangrove. They're not even an official sponsor yet. You guys could certainly at them and tell them to sponsor the pod, but I felt like we need to celebrate a little bit. Florida State picks up a commitment from 4-star on 247, 3-star on the composite. On three's low on him, but everybody kind of finds the on three ratings a little bit weird. But 4-star at 247 moves Florida State's recruiting ranking, moves their class in the top 20. A little bit interesting. I don't know if that's I don't know what are our thoughts on that. Interesting if you go play with the class calculator, what might happen if you land a linebacker out of the West Coast. And then if you get off to a good start and you land some of these big fish that you're going after, it would really make the recruiting class interesting. So anyway, here to talk about whatever you guys want to talk about. Obviously, the big news, Kenton KJ Kirkland commits to Florida State out of Jacksonville. A lot of smoke, a lot of rumors that he may go to Kentucky. Had some crystal balls that ended up going that way. Those obviously got flipped within the last week, and not a very well-kept secret, but Kirkland commits to Florida State. Again, taking the class on the 247 rankings up to 20. Fans obsess about the class rankings. I don't know. Ingram, if you want to come in here and chat, I'm happy to have you. The class rankings are great for fans to be able to like BS back and forth, but at the end of the day, if you're filling positions of need, like right now, I saw a post the other day. I don't want to make this all about, UF or whatever crap they have going on at any given day, but they're throwing numbers at it, right? Like if you look at, averages and where they are compared to the teams ahead of them and things like that. And so I think that, class rankings are fun to troll your rivals with. I think that if you're filling needs and doing it with high quality players, like Kearney, like Simmons, like the edge guys, like the defensive line, like the linebacker you hope to do, like defensive back, quarterback's the big question for sure. But I think if you're filling needs, like that's really what's most important. Fans obsess over, oh man, our class finished 12th, and, Clemson fans, their class never finishes, above 5 because they just take small classes, but their average is better than everybody's. So anyway, I don't know that class rankings are all that important, but they are fun to troll with. And so I guess if it's fun to troll with, they are actually important. But Florida State picks up a big commit. Let's get after it. KJ, you're welcome to jump in. I know I sent this to somebody. Happy to chat with you if you'd like to chat about your decision and picking Florida State. No pressure though, but you're welcome to jump in if you have a few free minutes. I was told you may have a few free minutes, so we'll see. Quick shout out as we get going to Ncaa. Celebrate a commitment with some free candy. Whether you want the orange hard candies or you want the gummies, go to thegramco.com. Use code TJ25. You'll save 25% on your order. And if you order tonight, now through midnight, so for the next 3 hours, we will hook you up with some free gummies or free candy. Based on what you order, we'll figure that out. But thegramco.com today. Y'all do me a favor and hit the share button because we have KJ Kirkland in the space chatting with us today. My man, how's it going?
What's up, man? How's it going? It's going good.
It's good, man. I appreciate you for taking the time. Again, everybody hit the share button down in the bottom right-hand corner. Let people know this is the place to be while we chat. How's it feel to be committed, bro?
Oh, it's pretty much the greatest feeling I ever had. Just to be able to finally accomplish this long-time goal I once had. Just be able to make this happen and for it to be a part of the Noles is just great.
Talk to us about your relationship with the coaching staff. Not only Coach Norvell, but your primary recruiter, the defensive backs. Talk to us just about the coaching staff in general.
Well, that's one of the things that quite caught my attention the most is the relationship that I have with the whole coaching staff, from Coach Norvell all the way down to the GAs. It's pretty much the same message and the same love all the way from the top to the bottom. So being able to come to Florida State and feel like home is definitely a plus side on this whole recruiting journey.
How important was it for you to get your commitment wrapped up, get it kind of good to go, and all kind of finalized before your final season?
I feel like it was very important just so I could focus on my team and focus on myself going into my senior season. And outside of high school, I feel like this is just something to be done so I can finally lock in with the whole Florida State staff and also recruit other guys to potentially commit to Florida State as well.
Your commitment video, the edit that you had was pretty elite. I'm gonna share that in the top of the space. If you guys haven't, most of the people in here have probably already done it, but if you guys haven't, go do me a favor and share that for sure. Give KJ a follow. Let's Noles support Noles for sure. I know that it can be tricky sometimes, but have you already set a date, or are you already kind of planning on when you're coming to Florida State this fall for any games or big games or anything like that?
I do plan to go to a couple games. I just haven't set those things out yet, but I'm definitely going to be at a lot of games this year.
It's nice being so close, right? Just a couple of hours away. When you were growing up, was Florida State a big school that you always kind of admired? Do you remember watching Jameis and the boys, or tell me about growing up and viewing the Noles?
Usually I just admire watching Jalen Ramsey. I usually model my game after him growing up. Just watching Jalen Ramsey and Derwin James, those guys, trying to model my games after them. Those are guys I always looked up to. So being able to potentially follow in those footsteps and fill up those big shoes, I know I have a lot of work to do, but I'm up for the task.
Man, we are super excited for you to get here. We appreciate you taking the time. I'll ask you this, and I'll let you get on with your night, man. I know that it's an exciting night. It's a busy night for you, and so I appreciate you just taking a few minutes and chatting. But if you had thank you for having me. Absolutely, man. Anytime. If you had one message for Nole Nation, and you're letting people know, what would it be?
Oh, you guys got a dog coming for sure.
I'm with it, man. I'm with it. Well, good luck to you this senior year. We can't wait till you're in Tallahassee full time. And anything you need, man, and just let us know, bro.
Thank you.
Thanks, buddy. KJ Kirkland, Kenton Kirkland, coming on the spaces, hanging out tonight with us for just a little bit. I saw Noles 247 did an in-depth piece with him as well. So shout out those guys over there. But appreciate him making himself available, man. It's an exciting night when a kid commits, and anytime they'll take the time to chat with fans, chat with different people. Always exciting. So yeah, I really appreciate KJ for taking the time. And again, can't wait for him to get to Tallahassee and ball out here in Garnet and Gold. That was exciting. Shout out my guys that set that up. I'll leave it at that, but thank you guys for getting that set up. That was fun. That's a cool way to start the spaces. So good stuff there from KJ. I'll shoot him a follow. Retweet that commitment video. Really good stuff there on that. Watch that video after the spaces. Don't watch that video beforehand, but or during the spaces. But yeah, if you're watching on YouTube, I see some of the comments coming. Hit the share button, hit the subscribe button. We certainly appreciate that. Let's get after it. Let's get some of these people requested. Let's get them on so we can talk a little bit, and we'll go from there. Kraken, bro, we're gonna be partying in less than a month. Kraken, is your liver ready for this?
Man, I'm telling you, I'm taking fish oil. I'm exercising a little bit, drinking a whole bunch of water, making sure I'm hydrated. I actually got drunk this weekend just as like a test run on how hard we're gonna go when we get down here, man.
I like it. How's your night, man? Good night, right?
I'm actually getting ready to go cover for one of my bartenders that's not feeling well because I'm actually a good boss. But I just want to hop in here and say that, man, I'm just excited to have a Florida State level player. Like, I know you're just saying, filling needs with good players. There's good players and there's Florida State level players. And that is what I think we should celebrate the most. Also, I want to say that I think Mike Norvell saw all of Aaron's slander and put his favorite coach in a backwood tonight. You know me, I'm definitely very skeptical of what's going on here, but it looks like the recruiting's upticked. And, man, I really cannot be more happy about that. Look forward to seeing you and everybody else whenever we come down to New Orleans. And you know how it is. Fuck everything orange. Fuck Clemson. Fuck Miami. Fuck Florida. Go Noles.
Appreciate you, my man. Whew, the energy is high. We get KJ on, then Kraken comes on next. Let's keep it moving. Oh, I see Ingram. All right, Chad, you were requested first, but then I'll bring Ingram on because I know that's I'm here for just to host it, but I know Ingram's the moneymaker here. So, Chad, how's it going? Oh, Chad may have hopped off. I think it might be glitching. Let's see. Chad, you there? Maybe not. Let me try Ingram. Chad, I'll get you in just a minute.
What's up, TJ?
What's up, man? How you doing?
No, that was awesome, man. Congratulations. Kid's pretty well spoken and pretty, knowledgeable as to what he wants to do in life. That was getting a high school kid on can backfire, but that was an awesome interview and great to hear directly from KJ. So that's congratulations. That was really cool.
That was fun. My buddy of mine set that up and helped us out with that. So no names here, but shout out to my guy that helped us with it. And yeah, you're right. I mean, not to call out any kids or whatever, but yeah, high school kids can. I just remember how much of an idiot I was when I was a high school kid, and really still am. But high school kids can certainly be a shot in the dark on an interview, and that's why the guys at Noles 247 or just whoever ends up doing an interview typically does them written because they can edit things. But he was fantastic, and he was very, he was a great interview, great to chat with, very positive. Obviously gracious to take time on his special night and chat with Nole Nation. So if you're just tuning in, we had KJ on, we had Kenton Kirkland on just about an hour after he committed to Florida State. Go back and check out the replay on this, either here on Twitter, on Patreon, or on YouTube. It'll all be kind of there. So yeah, great stuff for sure. Getting him for a moment. But how's your night going? What are your thoughts on this? I mean, you're way deeper into this stuff than I am, but thoughts on KJ?
Oh, I mean, the player itself, really like what he brings. He's a good combination of physical and gives you a lot of flexibility. Well, I'm certainly not going to call him Jalen Ramsey, but it doesn't surprise me that kid patterns his game after Jalen a little bit. Good in coverage, can come up and thump you. And it didn't necessarily come across in your space interview, but if you watch the video with Zach, you can tell he's not lacking confidence either. So that's a good fit, man. And that's a place where obviously you've had a pretty national black eye on signing day, but you've done pretty well over the past 2 or 3 days, 2 or 3 years, putting athletes into the back four of your defense, and you certainly got another one there. Although KJ could project to. He's so as Jimbo would say, he's real multiple. You can play that kid about 5 or 6 different positions ultimately, depending on how he's going to fill out his frame and what you could do with him. But really good pickup.
Awesome. Good stuff. What's your latest? I don't think we've had you on since we talked about the Trey Benson thing. Tell everybody about the Trey Benson thing, and then I'll get some other people on here to chat. But tell people about that.
Yeah, Trey Benson. I do want to say that. Also, slightly related to the Trey Benson thing in the sense that it's NIL related. I don't know the details of KJ's recruitment at all, but I do think we have an idea that Kentucky's pretty aggressive and kind of has to overspend to get kids because they're Kentucky and not a whole lot of historical track record there. So I think you don't necessarily always have to have the biggest plan. You just have to have the best plan for kids, and wouldn't surprise me if that wasn't in play here. So as far as the Trey Benson thing, so I was a little skeptical at the time of the take just because of the kid's injuries, and it really wasn't so much about Benson as much as it was Florida State's lack or inability to be able to recruit a high school running back. So you were having to take high risk, high reward situations in the tracer portal, and it certainly sounds like Benson has all the trappings to be a pretty high reward kid. So a couple weeks ago, we were doing the podcast, and YouTube chatters, as they tend to be, really the best and brightest of society. We're giving a little feedback as to that I should like buy a Benson jersey or something like that, and if he hit 1,000 yards, which I was more than happy to do. But then I kind of left the conversation and spent some time in the car, and don't want a bunch of mouth breathers to be like, oh, I bet Ingram doesn't really want Trey Benson to run for 1,000 yards or whatever. So I decided to go ahead and buy the jersey, and it was fortunate enough to be able to use your friends at Garnet and Gold, and couldn't have been a more easy process with that, and they are, I have shopped for Garnet and Gold long before I ever came on this space or anything else. They're awesome, and I thoroughly enjoy being able to work with them at any time. And got a jersey with number 3 on it and Slap Benson's name on it, and I believe Trey either is going or has signed it. I know that I've signed the contract, so I don't have any problems speaking freely about this. But we're gonna have Benson sign it, be able to, contribute to his cause in a small manner, and also be able to give that away to a Nolecast listener at some time. So it's a good situation, and awesome that Rising Spear and Garnet and Gold played a big role in it.
New Age and OG with Rising Spear and Garnet and Gold coming together on some stuff and working on that. Also, New Age and OG when it comes to you on the spaces and you being the host of the Nolecast. So, worlds just colliding all over the place. But no, I love it. I love, completely unrelated to anything Ingram said about KJ. I think now would be a great time to go and donate to Rising Spear, risingspear.com. There's no code for that. There's no like TJ25. Like you can't, if you want to save 20%, just, lower your donation by $1. But yeah, risingspear.com. Great time to go do that. Appreciate those folks a ton. And as Ingram said, Garnet and Gold's the absolute goats. I'm excited to take my daughter to Garnet and Gold. I can't imagine what that bill is going to be when I walk out of there, but I am excited
I've heard if you use the
take
code
her.
Richie50, Richie actually matches 50 cents on the dollar.
I wish Richie was
see if
awake
they
to
will
hear
take
that. Yeah, I wish he was awake to hear that, but he's been asleep for 4 hours. Somebody said to me, I can't believe you're doing a Spaces up against like Better Call Saul. And I was like, you've never heard of TiVo before? Like DVR? Like, what are you guys talking about? Who watches live TV?
I was going to say, I didn't even know live TV other than a sports event was a thing at this point, but good for you.
Ingram, I appreciate you, my man. Always a pleasure chatting with you, and have a great night, buddy.
Awesome night. Yeah. Thanks for having me.
Anytime, buddy. Ingram Smith of the Nolecast. I want to know, okay, so anybody else that comes on, I'm going to start asking you guys, but the OG, when I talk about podcasts and stuff, was the Nolecast and is the Nolecast, right? Like no was about it. But the first podcast I ever listened to, like in any genre, like, I like the true crime stuff now, and I like some other stuff, but the Nolecast was my first one. Chad tried to come on a little bit earlier, and Twitter was kind of bugging out. So let's see if it works this time. I see a Wilson requested. If you guys have comments on Facebook, we can get into some other things here. We'll talk about the recruit here for a little bit. If you have comments here, I'm sorry, on YouTube, it's not on Facebook. Got some quarterback news out of LSU today. We got some other things we'll talk about. Whatever you guys want to talk about today, we're here for it. But start out with the recruit. Chad, what's going on?
Nothing, man. I appreciate you trying it again. Sorry about previously.
No, you're fine, man.
I love the commitment. Think he's quick, long, really athletic, really stoked about it. One thing that I think is important here and think is cool to see is he mentioned Adam Fuller pretty significantly in his commitment. And I think similarly to the whole crew in terms of the players, you've seen the players really sort of go to bat for Adam Fuller lately. And I think he's the type of guy, he's a Northeastern guy, a lot more relationship building and sort of trust in regards to what he's asking them players to do. He's mentioned it in some of his conferences. But I think he'll become an asset more and more as this program starts to shine on defense. And I think we're going to see it in the coming year. And I think as that happens, as commits hear that on their visits to campus, I think he's going to be an asset. I know there's a lot of, back and forth on Adam Fuller, but I think moving forward, I think he's going to be a real asset for the team.
Yeah, no, I mean, I had a take on Fuller the other day. Obviously, he gets a lot of flack, but most coordinators are only as good as their players are, right? And I think it's really easy to blame a coordinator when their defense stinks, and all the players are bad, right? But when all the, again, it's Jimmy's and Joe's, right? Like to be cliche. And, so my take was, yeah, if Fuller can put together a top 20 defense and can do some stuff schematically and have guys in the right position to make plays. I went back and rewatched the Miami game. Little spoiler alert, got something coming out with Rising Spear there. So keep your eyes peeled. I went back and watched the Miami game, and we gave up 28 points in that game. 14 of those, one was on actually, if we back it all the way up, one of those was on a short field due to a turnover, one of the touchdowns. One of them was after a running into the kicker call on a missed field goal by Miami. And then one was on that tipped pass. I like to call it the payback for the Carlos Williams touchdown down there in Miami in 2014. So the defense really played well in that Miami game against a team that had been doing really well. And so you had some fluky things happen there. They scored a touchdown off of a drive that they ran a double reverse pass on. I don't know if you guys remember that. If you guys remember it, I just rewatched the game today. So it's kind of why I remember. It's fresh in my mind. But I think the defense is going to be better this year, but I think it comes down to the players. Like Fuller's fine, but defensive coordinators get a lot of credit when their team is filled with monsters and just absolute studs. I mean, you've seen defensive coordinators leave here after having fantastic studs and then not make it at that level. So yeah, I mean, again, I think it's a lot about the players. I think Fuller will end up with I feel very comfortable saying that he'll have a top 30 to 35 defense. Some people have even gone on record saying top 25-ish, top 20. But yeah, I think we'll be pleasantly surprised with what we see. And a lot of it has to do with just better talent. They're more complete at every position on defense than they have been since 2014, 2015. So yeah. Should have a better defense.
Yeah. And I think Venables, not in the same way in terms of scheme, but he reminds me of him in terms of his intensity. And I think when you're losing a lot, that intensity can fracture relationships on field and in recruiting, but that intensity is an asset moving forward if you can produce a really good defense. I think he's going to have a top 25. I'm super positive this year on him and the defense. So looking forward to it. Appreciate the time.
Good stuff, Chad. I appreciate you, man. Have a good one.
Peace.
Oh, man. We always like to give a shout out to Garnet and Gold. Again, Ingram and I talked about him a little bit, but garnetandgold.com. If you use code SPACES15, you'll save 15% on your order. Season's 12 days away. If you're not watching this live, it's 11 or less, right? If you're watching the replay on YouTube, wherever, doesn't matter. The code's good whenever. SPACES15 will save you 15% on your order. Go check them out today. Shout out to fine folks at Garnet and Gold. garnetandgold.com, SPACES15. Wilson, what's going on, my man?
TJ, how are you, buddy?
I'm doing well.
Good, man. Hey, I won't keep you long. By the way, just, really proud of what you built with Double Fries over the last year and change, man. I think you guys are doing a great job. And so way to go with that. Secondly, so this Kirkland kid, watch this video. This is kind of a joke, but kind of not. You see Dion in there a lot. What is on a 1 to 10, what are the chances we have another Travis Hunter situation with this guy?
Probably pretty low. I'm going to go with a 0.5, but maybe even lower than that. I'll go 0.5. I think I'm going to say we do a decent job of adjusting. For all of Mike's faults, he does a decent job of adjusting to things. And I don't know that Dion sneaks up and gets us again. So you look at games where we've had a big deficit, similar to Notre Dame. You look at a recruitment of Avery Stewart, where Kentucky was able to pull one out of your backyard that you kind of thought you had in the bag. Now you look at this recruitment. A lot of people thought Kentucky. Mike was able to get that sorted and fixed. So I'll say that Mike does a good job of adjusting in game and out of game, and I'll go with a 0.5. It's still Dion, but I'll go 0.5.
Well, I see that Rising Spear's in here. So you guys keep up the good work. TJ, you guys keep up the good work, and excited to be cheering on the Noles this year with you guys.
Appreciate you, my man. Thank you. Oh, wait, Wilson, you still there? Wait, I forgot to ask. Wilson, you still there? I lost him. I literally said, I'm going to start asking everybody what their first podcast was listening to. And, dude, Sam, relax with your tweets, bro. But I keep forgetting to ask people. I think it's just an old cast. Like, I don't even probably have to ask, but this is the best thing to happen out of Jacksonville in how long? Like, honestly, like, this is good news. This is good stuff. I don't mean to give Jacksonville slander a hard time. I see Bree, I see Sam. Aaron's not in here though, so I figured a little Jacksonville slander would be fine. But good things out of Jacksonville tonight. Buyer Sonone, Benson. Y'all, Brendan does not like when I do Buyer Sonone on here, so don't ask me that. Buyer Sonone, Benson has more rushing touchdowns than Verse has sacks. More rushing touchdowns than Verse has sacks. Okay, so how many? So here's how I'm going to figure that out. Okay, I'm literally just going to go to the box score from last year. How many rushing touchdowns did Jashaun Corbin have at Florida State last year? Once I find that out, I'm going to tell you. So Corbin, FSU stats. He had 6 rushing touchdowns. So, no. Let me take that back. Man, if I knew how to look up stats, you're got to send these questions in beforehand. 2021, he had 7 touchdowns. So I think Benson gets. Give me Benson with 8, and give me Jared Verse with 7.5 sacks. So I'll go Benson slightly higher than Verse. No, give me Verse with 6.5 sacks. So I'll go Benson. Benson has more rushing touchdowns than Verse has sacks. I'll buy that. But we can't play Buyer Sonone on this space anymore. I do get nasty texts from Brendan because he is listening on his burner. So let's see here. Any questions here? We have questions from YouTube. You guys are welcome to send those in. If you're watching on YouTube, if you're listening later, smash the subscribe button. If you swipe down on the chat, you can see the subscribe right there. 247 dropped an article today saying that NCAA 24 is coming in July 23. Somebody asked, who is going to be the highest ranked player for FSU when NCAA 24 drops? That's a tough one, right? So you're predicting like who's going to have a good year this year, but not good enough to go to the league. So like I would never say Jared Verse for this, because if Verse has a good enough year to be the top ranked Florida State player, he's not staying. Like he's not here another year. Like it can't be Fabo, it can't be Cooper, it's not going to be Dent, it's not going to be Robinson. You've seen reports that Florida State may try and make a push for Jordan Travis to come back. I think the easy answer is just to say Jordan Travis, right? If he comes back and you want him back next year and he's in the game, EA Sports, it's in the game, it's probably Jordan Travis. If Travis doesn't come back and he moves on, it's maybe it's, I don't know. That's a tough one. Who you guys got? Send me a DM. I'm going to go Jordan Travis. I think we have a 7-8 win year. They convinced Jordan to come back, and he's the highest. You got Duke Cooper here. I could see that. Benson here. I could see that. That's kind of a good one. Benson might play his way into that first. Yeah, he might not first round, but he might play his way into the draft. That might be a tough one. But yeah, those are some good ones. Andre's going 9 touchdowns for Benson, 10 sacks for Verse. I'd love for you to be right about that, Andre. Because I want that kind of production. So I hope you're right there. A couple people saying Azariah Thomas or Sam McCall. I don't think it'll be McCall. I guess Thomas has a chance at it. I just think Thomas is probably going to be rated higher after what he does this year. I'd love to be proven wrong on that by McCall. I also was thinking Winston Wright, if he was to come back, like there's one that you could kind of consider. You could maybe see an offensive lineman come back for, like a 5th-year senior offensive lineman type comeback. I don't know, guys like Bethune, like would Tatum come back next year? I don't know. I don't know that your linebacker is going to be your top, but that's a really good question. I like the Thomas answer too. We got several of those. Benson or Malik. I don't know if it'd be Malik. I like the Benson side of that a little bit better, but some good answers. Thanks guys for hitting my DMs and answering those. Beef Eater, bad financial choices. The real Chama. You got like 6 names, bro. Chill out a little bit on this, but The real Chamike. What's going on, bro?
What's going on, TJ? Hey, man, thanks for the podcast. You do good work, man. I appreciate what you guys do and all the sponsors. You keep it real.
Thank you.
You know, we're looking at a stronger O-line this year, right? So, I mean, what's your outlook on balance and how it takes the pressure off quarterback, obviously, and maybe we see some of these wideouts shine that maybe we didn't really see much of a presence with last year?
Yeah, it's a great question. I think that you'll see Florida State was excellent at run blocking last year, right? That was the strength was run blocking. Pass pro was what struggled. They struggled run blocking a little bit against like the absolute elites of the elites, like Clemson and teams like that. So, but you know, you look at Miami's ragdoll offensive line that they had, our defensive line that they had. I mean, Florida State ran for billions of yards. It's like those like that Trump meme, billions and billions and billions. So, I think that you'll see more balance this year. Last year, Florida State ran the ball 57% of the time and threw the ball 43% of the time. It does sound like the wide receivers are taking a step forward. It sounds like Jordan's taking a step forward. It also sounds like the offensive line is taking a step forward. So if all those things happen, you'd have to imagine they're going to throw more and they're going to be more consistent throwing the ball. Receivers can go up and make plays now. Jordan's I listened to On the Bench the other day. Brendan hit me up and literally just asked me like, hey, we listened on the bench. I thought it was one of our better episodes. I thought we flowed really well. I thought there was good conversation. And so I listened to it. And in listening to that, I heard Chris Nee, who gets excited about nothing, like absolutely nothing. Like I've been on a bachelor party with Chris Nee and guy just, same even keel guy all the time. Chris Nee is like excited about this offense. And if that's the case, man, I think there's a good chance that this offense – I haven't heard Chris Nee say a positive thing. No, that's not true. Don't tell him I said that. But since like 2016. So like if Chris Nee's excited, then I think I'm allowed to be excited. I'm a homer, So, yeah, I think the offense is going to be better. There is going to be more balance. I think the offensive line is going to take another step forward. I know that losing Lyles hurts. I know there's rumors going around of another injury, and that'll come to light. That'll come to fruition, soon enough. But I think they'll be fine with both of those, just based on what I'm hearing. You don't love losing depth, but I do think there's enough there that you can kind of absorb this. You don't want to continue to take hits there. But, I think that there's a lot of excitement. There will be more balance this year. And like I said, at the end of the day, if Chris Nee's happy about something, then the rest of the fan base can get their heads out of their butts and be happy about it too.
I'm super excited about it. I can't wait for this year. I want to implore everybody, support the boosters, support Rising Spears. Let's do what we can to keep this program in as good a position to succeed as we can.
I'm with it. Yeah. I would encourage anyone that hasn't to hit up risingspear.com. If you have questions about Rising Spear or the boosters, what your money goes to, how it's used, different things like that, they do a great job of answering that. You can just literally go to the frequently asked questions on both those websites. But if you don't trust those for whatever reason, just hit my DMs and I'm happy to try and answer and help with anything I can on those too. Real Chamike, I appreciate you, bro.
Thanks, man. Have a great weekend.
Thanks, you too. Weekend, bro. It's Monday. Don't hit me with that. Woof. It's just weekend. I feel like what was the coach for the Colts where, playoffs weekend on a Monday night? I'm all depressed again. We're taking my little girl to the Omni in Orlando. We booked it out like months and months ago because you can't get a room there at all. But they have a what do you call it? A lazy river. And she thinks that's the most amazing thing ever, right? Like she doesn't care how big the pool is. She doesn't care about water slides. She just likes to float in that lazy river. So excited about this weekend, but it is 4 days off. So I'm a little depressed after that. Where somebody said weekend, that's a Gramco user, no doubt. So if time is speeding up for you on the Gramco, then maybe you're still in the weekend if you're on the Gramco right now. So yeah, that's happy weekend to everybody in here. Thegramco.com. If you could put your order in, you might get it by the weekend. So thegramco.com. Again, we're giving candies away. 4-star commit for Florida State tonight. Giving candies away if you get your order in before midnight. Candies, hard candies, gummies, whatever you need, vapes, pre-rolls, wake and bake coffee. Hit up thegramco.com, TJ25 at checkout. Where do you place the wide receiver group for 2023? Just to let you guys know, another guy that might be really, really highly rated. He's a dog. He's got dog in him. number one rated guy in 2024's NCAA, it might be Duffy. It might be AJ Duffy. So shout out Charlie. Your guy might be the dude. So, all right, another question. 2023, where do I place the wide receiver group in that year? Assuming Winston comes back, Johnny Wilson and Deuce-Span develop after another year. Yeah, I think the wide receiver group in 2023 could be in the top third of the ACC. And I'm going to make that bold statement without knowing what the rest of the ACC's wide receivers look like. I think they'll be like top half this year, right? Like, last year they were like bottom of the barrel, 12, 13, 14, somewhere around there. I think they'll be around 7, 8, 9 this year, right? Like, so middle of the pack, 6, 7, 8, if you want to be a little more technical with where middle would be. And then next year, I'd have them like 5 or above, like top 5 or above. They won't be ahead of Clemson. I think Miami will have a lot of talent out there at wideout. They always recruit that position very well. If you land a guy like Hakeem Williams, you're certainly in that top 5 of the ACC. So, yeah, I think I'd feel comfortable right now saying that with really just the guys you'll bring back, you'll probably be in the top third of the conference. It shouldn't be that hard to be top third in the conference of the ACC. All the quarterbacks are leaving after this year, so you don't have to worry about any of that. Van Dyke, gone. Pickett left last year. Leary, gone. Hartman, if he makes it back, I would assume he leaves too. I could see a situation where Hartman misses the year and then comes back. But, yeah, like you lose all those quarterbacks, how good are everyone else's wide receivers and how good are the quarterbacks just throwing to them? So, yeah, give me top third in the ACC next year, which would be, somewhere between 1 and 5, right? Probably somewhere between 3 and 5, because I don't know that you're going to jump Miami or Clemson. But yeah, I'd take the third best wide receiving core, especially if you're able to add a guy like Williams. But even if you're not, you get some of those guys back. You get Winston Wright back. You get Deuce-Span with his speed, Johnny Wilson, different guys that you've developed. I think it could be a good year for the wide receivers. What other questions do we have? Anything on YouTube? I don't have anybody requested right now. Miles Brennan announced today that he is out of here. And so that's an interesting one. Literally took his ball and went home. So I think that's one that obviously tells you that we are going to see Jaden Daniels. I don't know if that's not something that I'm super worried about him. I think his mobility is something. I made a tweet today that, kind of just calling out Jaden Daniels' highlights, and it was just a fuzzy screen. And I thought it was funny. I thought it was a good joke. How many highlights does Jaden Daniels really have? And so, of course, because they can't not bite on trolls, in all kinds of weather, Neil sent me a link to an article that Jaden Daniels was the MVP of the Arizona State bowl win over Florida State. So obviously a couple of funny things there. Jaden Daniels threw for 195 yards in that game. 77 of that came on a screen pass, which, is hilarious. He essentially threw for 20 yards, for 120 yards in the game. And, beating out a Willie Taggart coach team in a bowl game. I don't know if that's really the flex that you think it is. So, yeah, I don't know that I'm super concerned about Jaden Daniels. I think my concern in that game rests completely on our offensive line being able to handle their defensive line. So Jaden Daniels doesn't worry me. Brennan wouldn't have worried me. The young kid wouldn't have worried me. It's can they block the defensive line? If they do that, it'll be fun. I think they'll have a great shot at finding a way to win that game. If their defensive line does to our offense and offensive line what Jermaine and the guys did to Miami last year, and they just absolutely take over, it's going to be a tough one for us. So, anyway, what else do we have? Other questions, other comments, thoughts on Jaden Daniels being the quarterback, Miles Brennan stepping away from LSU, thoughts on KJ Kirkland coming in here in the space, committing to FSU, the class being ranked in the top 20. Again, I think if you add Blake, let's do the 247. I know I shout out those guys way too much, but 247 does such a great job with just their interface, their class. Does On3 have a class calculator? Because that is like the coolest feature in all of recruiting. Just being able to throw in a kid like that you feel good about and being able to see where it takes your class. So if Blake Nicholson was the commit, it would move Florida State up to 215.21. Would help the average a lot, obviously, based on his ranking. If they were to move up to 215.21, that would move them into just move up 2 spots. So never mind. It's pretty bunched up right there. You probably need another one for it to matter. But move up into the 17-18 range. Telling you, if you start 2-1, or if you could find a way to get to 3-0, you have to feel good about your chances with a kid like Hakeem Williams. If you start 1-2 because you can't beat LSU or Louisville, you probably lose him. If you get a 5-star with how things are slanted towards 5 stars on here, you could be looking at it. I think if Florida State, Sam, I heard Sam talking about this on the Listen Up podcast. We all kind of disagreed on where Florida State would finish. And I went on the big, long talk earlier about just how the final rankings mean, if you're 8 or 12, and everybody, the 4 teams in front of you just have 30 kids, you look at Florida's class right now. Florida's class has 20 something kids, 20 commits. Florida State's has 14. You'd expect they'd be higher, right? Like they should be. Florida State's just under a 90 as far as an average star ranking of commit, and Florida's just over a 91. So you're not even talking about like 2 points of variance there. You're not talking about, on Alabama that's at 94. So anyway, yeah, I think that you take more kids, you're gonna get a higher ranking. I don't think the rankings matter as much. I know it'll be fun to say, oh, a top 15 class, a top 10 class. I just, I don't think that matters as much. I think you want to recruit well. You want to recruit for need. You want to fill holes that you have. That's what she said. But I think that what's most important is that you fill the needs that you have. And it's fun to troll with the rankings. But if you take 10 more kids in the class behind you, you probably did not recruit them. You just got more bodies in, right? I don't know. Maybe I'm crazy for that take. We've got a tailgate for the Duquesne game. I don't know what you guys' plans are, if anybody's going to that. I know, is Aaron in here? Let me scroll. I don't know why Aaron's not in here. I don't know what's going on in his life, but it does kind of frustrate me that Aaron's not in here. So maybe you guys can let him know to come hang out. But I would like to see you guys out of that Duquesne game. We will have a lot of fun out the tailgate. Be pretty chill. We're doing it with Rising Spear. Any and all Rising Spear donors, members are welcome to stop by. It'll be at the Heritage Fountain. Shoot me a DM if you need any info on that. It's right between the box office for the baseball field and Doak Campbell Stadium. So really, really close to the Bowden statue. If you're looking at the Bowden statue and you walk to your right, it's that next, the Osceola and Renegade statue, the Unconquered statue. If you're there and you walk to your right a little bit, you'll see what I'm talking about. It's the Heritage Fountain. Big, beautiful fountain. I've posted pictures of it. There's a picture of it on Rising Spear's website or on their Twitter feed. You can check that out. But we would love to hang out for that Duquesne game. It'll be pretty chill. Next weekend in New Orleans, it'll get a little bit crazier, but that Duquesne one should be a lot of fun. Where would Hakeem move us in the class calculator? I don't know, but since you asked, we'll go back to that and take a look at it. So if you added Blake, y'all, this is a one that you guys are really. So I am not adding Hakeem here, but because I was asked about it, Hakeem would move you up to 230.83. Other teams are going to get recruits and get commits. And so like, this is not perfect, but if you were to pick up Hakeem Williams tonight, it would move you up to number 15 in the rankings. Hakeem and Blake, right? Which we feel good about Blake. Hakeem's a month or so away, and we'll see what happens. A little over a month away. I think it's on the 23rd of September. So I'm not penciling Hakeem in just yet. It is interesting to talk about. I feel fairly good about penciling Blake in. But yeah, you'd be around 15-ish. So you'd be there. KJ isn't in the calculator because he's already in the class. You can't add him to the class because he's already there. So, yeah, I think that's why you're not finding him there. I love Kirkland. I love that he earned his stripes rep covering Hunter at camps. Does he have 5-star potential? I don't know that he had, so 5-star potential. What do you mean by like, does he have the chance at actually earning a 5th star by the rankings? Probably not on the composite, right? Like you could see 247, maybe. I mean, 247 is not going to flirt with it at all, right? Like it's such a small grouping of players that actually can get that. Right? Like it's just 32 guys, if I understand correctly. So probably not. Like he's not going to earn the 5th star unless he just goes berserk this year. Does he have the chance to have a 5-star kind of impact? I mean, probably, right? I mean, guys can play above their star ranking. Like it doesn't lock them in. It's not like, oh, you recruited a 4-star, here's your ceiling. You absolutely can't play any better. But, the rankings are fairly accurate for what they are. So, could he outplay his ranking? Sure. But I mean, a 4-star, essentially, I don't know if you guys have ever heard Newberg talk about this, but he does a good job with it. But, essentially the way that the rankings are set up to kind of mimic or to tell you like what's going to happen. And they have a pretty good hit rate. 5 stars are supposed to be 1st-round draft picks. 4 stars are supposed to be 2nd and 3rd round draft picks. And 3 stars are supposed to be your day 3 guys. Right. And so, if you're asking me, could KJ be a 2nd or 3rd round pick? Absolutely. He's going to have to outplay that ranking, and he's going to have to be an absolute baller to get into that 1st round. But if KJ Kirkland comes here and ends up being a 2nd round pick, that will be a heck of a Florida State career, right? I know that we love 1st round guys. I know that, we want everybody to go 1st round. But if KJ Kirkland comes here and ends up being in the 2nd or 3rd round, that'll be massive. That will have been a hell of a job by Woodson, Norvell, Fuller, whoever his coaches end up being for that it'll be 3 years, right? If he plays himself into that. So, yeah, I mean, I think, if he ends up playing himself into the 2nd round, I mean, essentially had 5-star potential, right? Just maybe a few picks before the end of that round. Full season healthy with DeAndre Francois or a healthy Jordan Travis. I'd probably go Jordan Travis. I know that people may kind of freak out on that. I thought that DeAndre had some really, really high highs and some really, really low lows. I like the leader that Jordan Travis is. He's obviously faster. So I think I'd go Jordan Travis there. Francois had, everybody remembers Francois winning 10 games with Dalvin Cook. Francois was not good at times. I think he, I think that he got away with a lot. You look at him in that bowl game, in that Michigan game, and he just wasn't. What did he go, like 9 of 27 or something like that? Like he just, I don't know. I thought that Francois at times was really, really good, and then at other times was very much just okay. And so, yeah, I think I'd go Jordan Travis there. Proof will be in the pudding, though. We'll find out this year kind of what ends up happening there with that one. But I think I'd lean that. What's your take? The person that asked or the person that kind of brought that up. What's your take there? He wasn't very efficient. He obviously had a lot of talent around him, but 58%, that's, in his best year, he went 58%. That was much lower than Jordan has been. Yards per attempt wasn't great either. Now he scored more, had more yardage, but was throwing to better guys, got to lean on Dalvin Cook. I don't know. Is that a crazy take? Maybe that's a crazy take. Jordan's more accurate, has a better yardage. I don't know. Less turnovers. DeAndre had more turnovers. I don't know. And didn't run as well. So maybe I'm crazy there, but give me Jordan Travis on that. Since you love hypotheticals, what if we add Zalance? All right, y'all are just getting crazy with it. If you go to the ranking, you could add this yourself, but I'll do it for you just because somebody asked. Hurd, Zalance, Blake Nicholson, and who was the last one? Hakeem Williams. So if you were able to do that, you'd move up to 243.48. Again, teams are going to pick up guys, but if you were to pick up all 3 of those right now, you'd be number 13 in the country. So that'd be pretty good. I don't think they're picking up Hurd, just to let you guys know. I think they will try to make a push there. I don't necessarily know that that's one that they'll have a ton of ton of success with. Tell everyone to check out the Listen Up podcast with Sam read off Daniel's stats last year. We should not be worried about him. Well, now I'm curious. I did see some of Sam's podcast this week. I don't know if that was part of it. 2,380 yards, 10 touchdowns, 10 interceptions, a 67.2 quarterback rating. He wasn't great in 2021. He had a good 2019, 17 touchdowns, 2 picks. He was not 26 sacks last year. He took a lot of hits. So it wasn't great last year. Again, the quarterback against LSU, that does not bother me as much. I think what I'm worried about is that defensive line. So we'll see what can happen. Does sound like he held onto the ball really long, is what Patrick says. We mentioned this when KJ was on here. His commitment video was fantastic. I put it up at the top of the space. I didn't even use the top of the space to promote my own stuff this week. So shout out to me for being humble. But his commitment video was really, really good. I will shout out one thing, and then I see Seymour requests. Let me add Seymour real quick. But let me be careful what I'm saying this. We have a hype video coming out tomorrow on our YouTube that I think you guys are going to enjoy. So let me so I will use the top of the space to promote just one thing for me. But we have a hype video dropping tomorrow. I think you guys will like it. If you don't, just hit my DMs and cuss me out. It'll be quick. It's not one of these 15-minute. I remember when they used to drop like 15-minute hype videos. You'd be like, all right, Tucker, I got work, man. Like, come on. Quick hype video for the season. I'm thinking about doing it before every big game, so it should be fun. I threw a link to the YouTube up in the top of the space. If you'll smash that subscribe button, I certainly appreciate it. I think you guys will like the hype video. Spent some time on that, worked on that, had a good friend work on that. And so check that out. Seymour, how you doing, man? Late night spaces. How many gummies you on?
Oh man, I'm on like 4 gummies right now.
How you doing?
I'm feeling pretty good about myself, man. But I just wanted to come in and kind of piggyback on a question that Sam had, man, and ask your take on it, man. You know, I got to stir the pot a little bit, man.
Man, we're celebrating tonight. You can't ask me tomorrow?
Nope.
What's going on?
Hey, check this out, man. All right, what does it say about where we are going into year 3 if we're unable to be the LSU team that's going into year 1 where their best option at quarterback just left? What does that say about FSU going into 3 year and our player development?
So here would be my question on that is, I'll ask you, what do you think? So let's back up. Their best option at quarterback just left, probably because he was told that he wasn't the starter, right? Like, I mean, that seems to be the rumor that's circulating. So, I mean, it does sound like Daniels is who they were going with. So, like, me and you may think that Brennan was the best, but it does sound like Kelly was leaning in the direction of thinking Daniels was better. So, I'll kind of cut that caveat out. I think that I think that this game is truly a toss-up for a couple of reasons. I think that when you look at the talent on LSU's roster, it is still higher than Florida State's. Like, I don't think it's like leagues better, but I still think it's higher than Florida State's. I thought you saw an LSU team last year that was a lot like the Florida team down the stretch and just quit on their coach, quit on their program, didn't care, and really played like crap and lost some really bad games they shouldn't have. And so I do think that LSU's talent is better. That said, I think Florida State should win this game. Like, I kind of agree with Sam on this. Like, this should be there will never be a better opportunity to basically go on the road. I mean, I know it's a neutral site game, but there will never be a better opportunity to get to go on the road and play a premier SEC school that's won titles in the last decade and beat them. There will never be a better opportunity, especially when you look at Florida State's won 8 games over the last 2 years. And they're going to be right in it. And so I don't necessarily know if you lose this game, if you're burning anything down. I think what really matters if you lose this game, how you kind of respond and go on the road and beat Louisville. which I think, on the pod this week, I tried to make an argument that the Louisville game, there's an argument that LSU is more important for recruiting. There's an argument that Louisville might be more important for staying in the division race, if that's even possible. But yeah, I mean, I think this is I don't know if I call it a must win, but it's a game that Mike Norvell needs to win. Like, he doesn't have many statement wins, right? Like, I don't know if beating Manny Diaz last year was a statement win. It was certainly the best one he's had so far, but last year, Manny Diaz shouldn't have lost to Mike Norvell, right? Like, Miami should have won that game. They had more talent. They were the favorites. I don't know the LSU game is so make or break, but I do think it's important. I mean, I kind of see what Sam's saying. Like, I don't disagree fully, but I don't think it's like, if you lose that game, there's still a lot of talent on that LSU team, I guess is what I'm going to say. Also, last point, and then I'll let you go here because I know you want to stir the pot. Florida State was less talented than Miami last year, but their defensive line absolutely dominated the game, and they won the game. And LSU's defensive line is what worries me the most in this game. And so if their defensive line just goes God mode and we lose the game because of that, kind of tip your hat to one unit being otherworldly and you move on, right? So I think I see both sides. That was the truest politician answer I could give, I guess.
I see what you're saying, man. But I think us being in year 3 and they're just transitioning to a completely new system with a quarterback that hasn't really thrown over 200 yards all year last year, we should if we can't win that game where we are at in our point of development and where we should be in the system compared to them, with the talent gap not being that big, if we can't win that game, man, that kind of says that we aren't buying into the system that Norvell has to the point of shit, really.
Yeah, I think it's hard to make. To me, it's hard to make judgments without seeing it first, right? Like, without seeing like how the game plays out, what ends up happening. If it's a 17-21 low scoring game at the end or something like that, I'll tell you what, I'll be the most upset if we lose this game. It'll be on the defense, because you're exactly right. Like, Jaden Daniels is not a quarterback that worries me at all. I don't worry about their run game a ton. They do have some weapons out at wide receiver, but this defense has been billed as being really, really good. And I know people are excited about seeing the offense take another step forward. And, football is about scoring points. And that's really the day and age of football that we live in. But if we lose, I'll be pretty upset with this defense, especially now if it's a 17-14 game and we lose just because we couldn't score. I mean, that's one thing. But I really think I think the defense is the one that we're billing as being really good this year, being top 20, top 30, wherever they kind of fall in that. And if they go out and get beat by Jaden Daniels, like, I am going to be very frustrated with everything we've heard has been, oh, the defense is lights out. The defense is on fire. Oh, the defense is doing this. That you've replaced, not replaced, but you've kind of replaced Jermaine Johnson. You've got more depth on the D line. The linebackers are better with Bethune. Jamie and Akeem are the best 2 safeties in the league. If we lose after that, because we can't stop them, if we can't stop Jaden Daniels, that's where I think I line up with you. Is I'm like,
man, do you agree that all we should have to do is scheme up 28 points, a touchdown a quarter, and we should win that game. So if the offense can't scheme up a touchdown per quarter, I think that we're in fucking trouble for the whole season. Like, you should be able to scheme up one big play per quarter. You know what I mean? With the offensive guru that you're supposed to be. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and if all these offensive positions that everyone is saying have taken a step forward this year, right? Like, if Jordan Travis takes a small step forward this year, and if the running backs take a step forward this year, and the wide receivers take a step forward in the offensive line, where's the weakness, right? Like, I mean, I'm not saying that we're going to go out, Jordan's going to win the Heisman or anything, but like, if everything gets better, how can you not score 28 a game? Now you win this game, you lose this game 27-28 or something fluky happens. I mean, whatever. Well, you have to kind of see it happen to go from there. But I think last year Florida State averaged around 28 points a game. So I think I'd even bump that up to maybe 30, 31. Like, that, to me, that needs to be your kind of average this year. I think needs to be 31 to 33 points a game. And if you can get there, I think you're probably winning the 8 games that everybody kind of wants, 7, 8, if you're on the plus side of 30, I think you can get to 8. If you're on the bottom side of 30, I think you're around 7. But yeah, I think the offense does. Yeah. If you can get to 28. I like 31 in this game, just for what it's worth. Because I feel like in these big kickoff games, like something fluky always happens. And in primetime games, like something fluky always seems to happen. Like we were talking about that Miami game this year or last year. They like caught a pass on like a tipped touchdown, like that went like 30 feet in the air. And it's just like stuff like that just happens, you know? And so if you give them a one freebie, you got to hold them to 21 or less. Like in football, it always used to be, if you hold your opponent to 21 or less, you're winning the game. So you hold them 21 or less on defense. You give up one fluke one. I think first team to 31 wins here, but that's not too far off your 28. So I don't think I think we're splitting hairs if we're going to argue about 3 points. But yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. Around 30 points probably wins this game. That said, I had a Notre Dame guy on last year, and he's like, "Yeah, this game's not going over 20." And then that one was like the 40s or something. So I guess we'll see. We'll see how that goes. But I agree with you on that. First to 30 is kind of my big call there. If we're going to win at like 31-24 or something like that. Honestly, what I'd like to see is I just like to see like a 31-20 game where it's never in question. You go out and beat a team because you're just better. Find a way to scheme up the blocking, which I do obviously have a lot of confidence in Atkins. He's everybody's favorite. Scheme up that offensive line, scheme up that blocking. That to me, that's where the game's going to be won, is our offensive line against their defensive line. And I do have a lot of faith in Atkins, to do that. Now, if they pull off 8 sacks like we had in that Miami game, then maybe some of that confidence will wane. But I do have confidence in Atkins to do a good job. And what position group, is that the same thing for you? Like, is their defensive line what worries you the most?
Yeah, that's the only thing that really worries me. And it's like, with our best position coach pretty much, playing a chess game against that defensive line, even with the injuries at center, it's like, I think that, because even if we have to move Darius Washington to center, with getting the kid from Charlotte and, to be able to come in and play that other guard position and then still having Bless Harris and Scott. I mean, the offensive line, it actually, with Washington getting some more snaps, it could actually put us in a better position, because I don't think that Washington should be pushed in the backfield the way that, Maurice Smith was at times. So it could actually be a blessing in disguise, depending on how you look at it. So, I mean, the way I'm looking at it is, anything can happen, of course, but I'm looking at that game. We realistically, even though they have a talent edge slightly, we should win that game, man. And if we don't, it's to me personally, it just says a lot about the development of the players, where the staff has the team, and that we aren't, they really aren't, they're ass like I think they are. You know what I mean? If we don't go in there and win that game, prime time, this is what his opportunity to turn around the program, because he fucked the new car smell up as far as recruiting. Like, if he doesn't get this win on primetime TV during the holiday, I don't think he's going to be able to turn the program around to the point where we all want it to be.
Yeah, I think this game is huge for the simple fact that I think you could realistically get to 8 wins if you win this game. And I think 8 wins is a big flip from the 5 that you had last year. I don't know if 7 is enough of a flip, right? It's improvement. 5 to 7, I mean, it's legitimate improvement, but is it fast enough improvement to really help you? I think you'd really need to get to that 8-9. If you lose this one, it becomes so much harder to get that 8. Now, if you end up upsetting an NC State or end up upsetting a Louisville or something like, go on the road and beat Miami, there are other ways to do it, but the margin for error is just so much greater. So I agree with you. This is the most important game of his career, and it's really not even close, right? We would have all liked to beat Florida at the end of the year last year, but I don't know how much that really matters. And in that Florida game, I thought you played well enough to win. You just had a bad muffed punt, and that kind of cost you the game. I think that if he loses this one, it sets you up for, again, just a mediocre year. I don't think there's really a path to a good year if you lose the LSU one. So, yeah, I'll agree with you. It's the most important game of his career. I don't know that I'm ready to burn it down if they lose, especially if they come back out. If you lose to LSU, but then you can rebound by beating Louisville, beating BC, beating Wake Forest, and you're sitting at 4-1 to start the year, you're probably going to be ranked at that point at 4-1 with your only loss being LSU. So,
but you got to think that Louisville game on that Friday night, that's a setup game, man.
Oh, that's tough. That's
a much harder game to win in that LSU game.
I think it's harder. Yeah, I think it's more difficult. I think they're more likely to beat LSU than Louisville. I do think it helps them a ton to have the bye week before Louisville, and Louisville has to go on the road to play UCF, which is a physical team. Nearly beat them last year, if not for kind of a weird play on the last play of the game. So I do think it helps getting that bye week and them having to go on the road and play a tough team. But yeah, I agree with you. That Louisville one is tough. I just think that's if you lose to LSU, you have to be like you have to win one of those two games to me. And then I think you beat BC. I think you beat Wake, especially if Hartman's not there. If you get back to 4-1, I think you're in pretty good shape. But man, it'd be huge to beat that LSU one because if you beat LSU, obviously, then you have the chance to go on the road, and there's a lot less pressure on that Louisville game. And you probably play looser, and maybe you have a better chance of winning that if you've already beaten LSU. So, Seymour, you didn't even stir the pot that much. We agreed like on almost everything.
Yeah, man. It's the gummies, man.
We appreciate Gramco so much here.
All right, man. Appreciate you, TJ.
All right, brother. Let me get a couple more people on here, and then we'll get out of here. It really can't be understated that we Seymour and I may disagree just a tad on the level of importance, but like that LSU game is absolutely massive. Biggest game of Mike's career. The Miami game last year is probably second to that, but huge opportunity for Mike and the boys to make a statement. Charlie, what's going on?
What's going on, boys? I don't know. I was just listening to Seymour talk. I definitely agree with them on the their defensive line. Like, kind of freaks me out, especially with the rumors of the injuries on our offensive line and potentially being thin there. But like everything I've read is they're definitely like I feel like we're definitely more well-rounded as a team as far as consistency across all of the different position groups. They just have us beat. Like they have Boutier at wide receiver, who's clearly better than any receiver we have. And their defensive line as a unit is like I remember talking to that one guy from AYS.
Blake, my guy,
yeah, like those guys are like they've got like a couple, if not three, potential top 3 round talent, maybe 2 first round level talent guys on that D line. So it does scare me a little bit of them like kind of shutting down the run potentially, and then really just requiring Jordan to use his arm, which is obviously like his weak point. I mean, hopefully he's gotten better and the receiving group's gotten better, but I don't know, like you definitely see like a lot of guys been talking on Twitter like, oh yeah, like must win, like talking like now like this is like some sort of easy win for Florida State. Like I just go back, Las Vegas still has LSU favored in this game, and if you think you're smarter than Las Vegas, I think you're an idiot. I think it's like it's a 3-point spread. I think that I don't know a 3-point spread is a pick'em. I think the line will get closer to a pick'em come the closer we get to game time because of like the quarterback factor. But it's a huge game, but kind of to what you were saying, I don't think it's like, it sucks. It would hurt for momentum, but I don't think it kills the season if you lose it. Now, if you lose it, you get blown the hell out. Yeah, like I'm probably calling for his head. But if you lose it and you lose it close, I don't think it's gonna like kill Mike's tenure. Now, if he goes out, just to reiterate what you were saying, and loses LSU in a close one, and then boom, loses to Louisville back to back, well then we're talking, we're calling for his head, I think, at that point too. But I don't know, it's such a big game, man. It has me stressed out. I always get super stressed like 2 weeks before. I love it. It's part of loving college football, but I don't know. I just I wanted to vent a little bit there.
I'm fine with it. You're more subdued tonight. You on the gummies as well?
I'm not on the gummies. I've just been up late working. I'm tired. But just listening in to you guys, enjoying. I'm getting excited for the season, man. I have a fantasy football punishment. I have to do the Waffle House punishment on Friday, and I'm like really dreading it.
Oh, dude, I cannot wait for that. I'm excited for that.
I'm
going to.
I'll be in Jacksonville because we have our fantasy football like draft that weekend with all my boys, and I'm going to check into the Waffle House around noon on Friday. Hopefully be able to – I think I can knock out 12 and get out of there by midnight, but we'll see.
Patrick said you're on the coleslaw. I'd like to know if the coleslaw helps the waffles go down a little easier.
No, man, I'm strictly waffles and water.
You doing any syrup at all? You doing any syrup?
No, see, I've been thinking about that because I'm curious if it, makes it like congeal a little bit more, go down easier. But I really don't know, man. It's just it's really just been in the back of my head, and it's making me miserable at this point.
You finished last in your fantasy league.
I know. And last year I was I lost in the championship to like the one team that squeaked in, and I was like the most dominant. I had most points for, best record, should have won. So it's been a crumble, man. It's been brutal. Yeah. Anyway, that's why I'm so good. It's because I'm depressed thinking about all the waffles that I'm about to eat on Friday.
It does sound awful. One waffle though sounds really good. So,
yeah, the first three are probably going to be because I'm not going to eat that. I'm going to try and eat basically nothing leading up. So those first three waffles are going to be awesome, but then everything after that it's going to be hell.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Charlie, I appreciate you, my man.
Later, man.
I can't wait to party with Charlie. Charlie in New Orleans. Should be a lot of fun. StreamYard was kind of screwing up the comments. I haven't been getting any of the YouTube comments. I finally just got them all. So if you've been YouTube commenting, sorry that I've been disrespecting you. I literally was like, why is nobody commenting on here? And then I pull the thing up and there's dozens of comments. So sorry, I had a setting off. So thank you guys for chatting there on YouTube, and sorry for me ignoring you. I also saw, I'll get a couple more and then we'll get out of here. Patrick, I saw you were requested. You're more than welcome to jump back in if you can. Brett, I'll add you. Let me give a quick shout out to Primetime 2121. It's DSP Insurance Services. Not only can he take care of your employment insurance, if you'd like to save a little bit of money on car insurance, a little bit of money on homeowners insurance, hit my guy up. Primetime 2121. It's DSP Insurance. It's Tony Perez. You can hit my DMs. I'll group you with Tony. We'll get him over your info. See if he can save you some money. If he save you some money on car insurance, great. If not, don't talk to him anymore. Talk to him about football instead of insurance. Save some Noles some money. Let's support FSU, folks. Primetime 2121. It's DSP Insurance. Brett, how's it going?
Hey, what's up, TJ?
Oh, man. I'm tired, man. I'm ready to clock out, but I figure I'd take a couple more calls and go.
Yeah, I'm in Missouri, so we're an hour behind.
You got an hour on me.
Yeah. When we were talking about earlier, when you guys were talking about LSU game, and you guys were talking about D-line, I understand their D-line's amazing, but, like, what scares me most about that game is their wide receiver core. If you listen to the Ncaa, I'm assuming you do, you know, Bud. And he says that they have the best wide receiving core in the SEC. And that's the one thing that scares me the most. I understand our DBs are pretty good, but it's pretty scary.
I don't disagree with you on that. I do feel a little bit better with Jaden Daniels being the guy throwing the ball.
Okay, yeah, I understand.
So I'll give him that. I also really like our DBs. Again, I said this earlier, but I rewatched the Miami game today. And our DBs were really, really good in that game. I don't want to just sit here and call a kid out. I'm really not trying to be a jerk with this. They really picked hard on Brownlee in that game. And, Rambo was able to kind of dominate a drive. Brownlee had the running into the kicker. I think he was pushed there, so I'm not trying to give him a hard time on that. But Brownlee really, really struggled in that game. I know he struggled in other games and big moments too. And so I'm not trying to just pile on a kid when he was. But, hopefully we've seen some improvement in that. But, man, Dent had some really nice pass breakups there. Robinson had some nice pass breakups. Cooper had some really, really nice plays in the secondary. And, I don't know that we have upgraded from Brownlee or not. I like what some of the guys do. I really like Kevin Noles. He had a nice pass breakup or two from what I watched. But if that fourth piece can kind of step up, whether that's, Vance or if that fourth piece can step up, I feel good about the other guys. I feel good about Cooper. I feel good about Dent. I feel good about Robinson. I think it'll be Cooper on Booyah. I don't know. They do have good wide receivers, though. You're not wrong about that at all. But again, I think our defensive backs will take a step. I think the fact that it's Daniels throwing, that'll be a good thing for us.
Yes.
Fingers crossed, though. Because you're not wrong on that. Their wide receivers are great.
And last year I went to watch the Falcons against Miami Dolphins. But I'm a Noles fan through and through. But my dad's a Hurricanes fan, and we were there. I didn't actually go to the game, but because I was like, I'm not going to my first game ever being a Hurricanes against in-state when they beat them. So we're actually going to be there this year in Miami the Noles playing them.
Heck yeah, man. Be a ton of fun. We'll get another easy win, though. So you'll get to see a good win on that night.
Yeah, I hope so. Have a good night, TJ.
Appreciate you, my man.
Yep, see ya.
Man, I appreciate you guys hanging out. If we have any other calls, any other questions, I'm happy to take those quickly. I'll give a couple of shout outs and get out of here. I do want to quickly shout out KJ Kirkland, newest FSU commit. I put his commitment video up in the top of the space. Really, really good stuff. Go retweet that. Go share that if you have it. Somebody messaged me. I can't remember who it was, but that one certainly sets the standard for where we need to be on an edit standpoint, a video standpoint, a commitment standpoint, as far as graphics go. Really good stuff there. We have a hype video coming out for the season tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. Go subscribe to the YouTube, which I put the link for that up in the top of the space as well. Don't miss that. Turn the notifications on so you see that at 9 a.m. Of course, we'll share it everywhere on social media. If you like it, hit the retweet button tomorrow, and we'd appreciate that. If you don't, I don't know, cuss me out or something. It's all good. Shout out Gramco, thegramco.com. Again, I don't know if anybody's put orders in, but you got about 2 hours left. You can get some free candy by putting your order in today. Don't wait. You need to get this stuff before the season gets here. The quick mix and the hard candies are great for tailgating. TJ25 at thegramco.com will save you 25%. Spaces 15 at garnetandgold.com to make sure you're threaded up and ready to go for game day. And then primetime 21, Tony Perez at DSP Insurance will take care of your homeowner's insurance, your car insurance, whatever you need. He's got you covered. If you're rich like Seymour, he'll take care of your boat. Doesn't matter. Hit him up. Let's get you some money saved on insurance. I don't have any more callers. I don't have any more questions. We'll be back on. Actually, we have a pop-up double fries, no slaw coming tomorrow with a coach at FSU. I won't say who, but he is a coach at FSU. We'll get him on tomorrow. So stay tuned. Probably throw that up at 7 p.m. And then I think we have something coming up with Rising Spear on Wednesday. That hasn't been announced yet, but stay tuned. There's content like every night this week. So appreciate you guys for hanging out. Florida State picks up a big commitment from 4-star on 247, KJ Kirkland. And the Noles move into the top 20 of the recruiting rankings on 247. We will talk to you guys soon. Thanks for hanging out. Go Noles. Hey, if you guys are still on YouTube and you watch this, there's 22 of you right now. Stats say that 60% of you are not subscribed. If you enjoyed this, if you liked hearing about the commitment, we're going to do this every time. Hit the subscribe button. Hit the thumbs up button. We like hanging out. Again, hype video coming tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. You guys are already here on YouTube. Hit the subscribe button. Turn on the notifications so you get the alert at 9 a.m. when that comes out. Thank you guys again for hanging out so much. Go Noles.